You're listening to Season 5 of the Girl Talk Podcast, engaging conversations about authentic faith. We want to say a special thank you to our friends at Fox Toyota of East Tennessee for sponsoring Season 5. We love you. Thank you so much. You're listening to the Girl Talk Podcast. Hello there. My name is Carol.
Hey, I'm Tricia.
And I'm Kelly.
And today we are going to dive deep. Now, I'll just go ahead and issue a little bit of a warning. This one should probably come with a warning sticker.
It should.
Because if you didn't know that Carol was 12 levels of crazy, she is. So I'm just going to start there. We're going to talk about mental health today. I think we all have a new appreciation for mental health, having just come through a year of a pandemic. Yep. And the toll that it took on all of us, and being isolated and unable to see people and unable to see family and unable to hug. Mm-hmm. Oh, my word. I think the shutdowns happened in March. Is that right?
That's right, yes.
And then about March, the 2 days later, I was like, I just want to hug somebody. My teenager she was like, do I have to hug you again? You know, because I'm a hugger and I didn't deal well with that. So let's dive right in. Studies show that, oh, my word, anxiety's gone through the roof. Mm-hmm. Depression's gone through the roof. Even suicide, sadly, has gone through the roof because people do not know how to deal with life this way. And so, first of all, I want to just issue a disclaimer. We're not professional counselors. We're not. We're just your friends, and we love doing life with you. But we want to give you some tools and some resources so that you can get the help you need. If you are suicidal, if you know anybody who's having suicidal thoughts, have them reach out to the hotline, have them get the help that they need. We got Focus on the Family. We're going to put some resources for you in the notes so that you can get a hold of those places if you need them, because we love you and we want to see you mentally healthy. And that's why we're doing this podcast today.
Well, I read an article last week, I guess, that was from the CDC talking about mental health. Mm-hmm. Did you know that over 50% of Americans have struggles with mental health to a place where it's diagnosable?
Was that
50%? Was
that before pandemic?
That was before the pandemic.
Oh,
yes.
wow. 50%?
50%.
Wow.
And Johns Hopkins University says that 25% of people are dealing with a diagnosable mental health issue at any given time.
25%
of the population. That's children, adults, all of us.
That's 1 in 4.
That's a lot. So if it's not you, it's the person you're looking at.
Yeah. That's, wow. That's staggering.
It is. It's a lot. You are not alone. So that's I guess that's the bottom line there, is that if this is something you're struggling with, which is something I've struggled with, you are not alone. There are people just like you who are dealing with exactly the same issues, and we have got to talk about this more often. Yeah, especially within the church.
Absolutely.
We've got to talk about it.
So let's go there.
Yes.
Let's go there right off the bat. I will just say, from my experience, and this is more my fault than it is the church, so I take full responsibility for that. I first of all, let me say, I love the church. I believe in the church. I love my church. I love the global church. The church is Christ's bride, and so I don't want you to hear that we're coming down on the church, because that is not where we're coming from. I'm saying we need to be more aware.
Yes.
And we need to stop it with all this. I'm fixing to get up on a soapbox. I can already feel it. We need to stop it with all the show up shiny on Sunday morning. Amen. Stop it.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
And I am the world's worst. And I'll just go ahead and admit that, because when my life fell apart, and I did it with this ministry, I came to work probably the funniest time I was ever on the radio. Mm-hmm. My sense of humor was like, I guess I was so sad that I experienced the full gamut of emotions there, you know, but I would go home and I would close the blinds, and it got dangerous. It really got dangerous for me, because I felt like that I had this responsibility and this mantle to carry, to have everything together and for life to always work out. And it was not. And so I did not know how to adequately manage those two extremes. What I felt like people wanted and expected from me, and what actually was. Yeah. And it was through many, and I mean, I still, to this day, keep my counselor's name kind of on speed dial, because there are still days that I struggle with that balance. And I think to an extent, not just because of what we do, but I think to an extent, everybody in the church kind of struggles with that, because you have a way that you think you're perceived, and you feel like you got to live up to that. And when you can't, that's the divide, the great divide there.
Well, we think that when we come to Christ, when we start a personal relationship with him, that all of a sudden we're going to be mentally healthy. But that's what happens. You have all the tools you need. You have Jesus. So why would you struggle with mental health issues? But we struggle with physical health issues. We don't come to Christ and all of a sudden we are physically perfect.
Right.
Yeah. We're not going to come to Christ and find out that we're mentally perfect either, or even spiritually perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually was not surprised by what you said earlier about a number of people that are struggling in that way or diagnosed in that way. I think about it like a continuum. It's like there's not like a line. If you are a little bit more anxious, you're going to be diagnosable. I think we're all somewhere on this continuum of struggling with our mental health. I don't think there's anybody who's not having to battle it.
And here's the thing. I think we all find ways to adjust or cope with it because some people are very external. I mean, you can see them getting anxious. You can see that, we all probably know somebody like that. You see them getting anxious. For me, I have high anxiety, but I just don't show it. It's all internal for me. And I do this whole thing in my mind, like, you shouldn't be anxious, but you're anxious. And so my mind just rolls and rolls and rolls. And although you may not know it externally, I'm very good at hiding that, which I think is more dangerous. Absolutely. But I think we cope with it in different ways. So the person that you think you're like, they don't struggle with mental illness, they may struggle worse than you do.
That's very true.
Absolutely. Yeah. I went out to dinner with a couple of girlfriends the other night, and all four of us, godly women, all four of us have either dealt with significant mental health issues or are currently dealing with significant mental health issues. And for us, the best thing we can do is talk about it. And say, hey, I struggle just like you struggle. I'm on medicine just like you're on medicine. And I see a counselor just like you see a counselor. And you are not alone. You are not alone.
Yeah, so it's taking away the stigma of it is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And we've talked about that a little bit in the church too, because people, well-meaning people will say you just need to pray a little harder or have a little more faith and you're not going to have that issue. But
you wouldn't say that to me if I had a broken leg.
Or diabetes.
Right.
Yeah. Like, well, you just pray a little bit more and that diabetes is going to clear right up.
That's
well,
right.
God may heal you, but more likely he's given the medicine to help you. And so, but talking about it is the first step to releasing the stigma. And if you haven't talked to somebody about it, start doing that, because I think once we start to be open with each other, like if I say to you, hey, I've struggled with depression, then you may say to me, I have too. You have? I never knew. And you start understanding you are not the only one. And you can get through this, and then you support each other in the process. But it starts with
normalizing the conversations.
Normalizing and taking that step, having that faith enough to talk about it.
I don't remember who said it, but my perspective on it changed a couple of years ago when I had somebody say, if you're worried about what other people think of you, you're still trying to be their savior.
Ooh.
And I said, well, you can stop that right now, 'cause I'm just thoroughly offended at you.
Yeah.
But it is true for me, and that's, I mean, that's pride, and that's, I can't save anybody. I know that. But I have a perception that I need to be something for somebody, and when I do that, I totally make an idol of my personality. You know what I'm saying? And I feel the weight of that, and I feel so many different emotions when it comes to that. But it is true; it's a form of idolatry that I'm trying to set myself up as somebody I'm not. When Christ is supposed to be who you're looking to, not me. You know.
And I think we all struggle with insecurity also when it comes to that. And so we're worried constantly about what other people are thinking about us. And we then think they're thinking negative thoughts. And then we put those negative thoughts on replay in our heads. And then those negative thoughts become our made up truth. And all of a sudden we have not taken every thought captive. Yeah. We have let the enemy come into our brains and start telling us lies and things that are not true about ourselves.
The battleground is the mind.
Yeah.
It is the mind. And if we think about it like that, we have to put on our armor and we have to get ready to fight and we have to have enough ammunition And we can't just go into it. You wouldn't go into a battle without having
with a water pistol.
Yeah, without having some preparation and thought through it. And I think every day we sort of wake up and, well, what's the thought that's going to pop into my mind today? And that's going to set me on whatever path I'm in today, instead of thinking about what we're thinking about.
Right. Yeah. Philippians 4:8. Whatever, think on whatever is true, whatever is honorable, et cetera, et cetera.
And I think that is one of the hardest things for me, at least, is to think about what I'm thinking about. Is because I can get to lunchtime and be having a crummy day and think, I don't even know why I'm having a crummy day. Like, I don't know. It's just because I've let my thoughts get away with me, and I've not put in the mental workout to say, all right, why am I thinking this? Why am I here? Why am I, is it any number of things, and drill down. Journaling really helps me with that.
Yep.
Because I'll say things on paper that I won't ever say with my mouth. And that's why if something happens to me, y'all go burn all my blank books.
The ones that aren't
girl.
blank.
Right, yes, the ones that aren't like how many books you got in your
it's
journals?
Probably I'm probably 20, 30 maybe. And probably got as much in my head to fill 20 or 30 more.
But so therapeutic, so healthy for you to get those thoughts out and not just drive them down.
Yeah.
And like what you said, Carol, like middle of the day, it's hitting you. Why have I had such a bad day? I have to start the day. I have to start the day with the right thoughts.
Yeah.
Because if I let it get away from me at the beginning of the day, then it will be the middle of the day and I'm having the worst day ever. And I doubt everything and I question everything and I've already condemned myself and everyone else I know. And it's just awful. So
condemn you and you and you and all of you.
It's like, you get a new car. No.
Yeah.
So it's
and here's another thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking about this before we started this podcast, but I am the master at deflecting. So
explain what that means.
Well, for me, it means like if I see y'all in the hallway and I don't make eye contact, y'all know now, like I need to go make eye contact.
Yeah,
or something's up. And even if I like work real hard not to make eye contact, sometimes I will deflect with humor. So y'all will say, how you doing? I'm like, oh, well, I'll come up with some big grand story to tell you that kind of takes the attention off where I'm at. And if you're good at that, you're my people, because we're good at, and I'm naturally, I really do believe I was born an entertainer. I mean, I just been doing that my whole life. And that brings me joy. But there are times when it's dangerous because I use it to deflect and to not have those conversations and not go deep with people. I'm so blessed to have people like y'all. And I have some other friends in my life who will call me on the carpet. And I have a great counselor who will say, that is a load of bull and what's going on in your world. And sometimes it takes going a little deeper and being willing. And I think part of that is, I mean, I have some major trust issues in my life. I don't think it's any secret to y'all, and I want to know that people are going to continue with me. Yes. Because if they really knew what's going on in my head, and I think that's one of the problems in church too, as we go back to that, is if you think if people really knew what was going on in my head, they wouldn't want me in their Bible study, they wouldn't want me in their small group, they wouldn't want me in their church, they wouldn't want me.
Yeah. No, and what actually is, they will see themselves in you.
Yeah.
We have got to start creating safe places for us to be able to share and be really vulnerable and transparent and authentic and say the hard stuff in a place where somebody's going to say, hey, I hear you. Yeah. I'm listening and I struggle with hard stuff too.
And here's the thing too. And I don't know about y'all, but I'll just say from my own experience, oftentimes it's not that I need you to tell me what to do. I have already figured out what I need to do. I just need to say it out loud and process through it.
And have an ear that will listen.
Because I think so many times in relationships with girlfriends, we think we got to have the 1, 2, 3 ready to go. And like we got to have the plan and we got to help because we're nurturers and we're helpers and we want to do everything we can for the people that we love. But a lot of times I don't need that. And that actually irritates me and pushes me away if you do that. I just need to say it. I just need to say it out loud. Here it is. Lay it all out on the table. And you just go, I love you anyway.
I love you.
I'm with you.
I love you. Yeah. Permission.
Because
it's just permission to feel and be who you are in that moment. Yeah. But also encouragement to find maybe a promise in God's word to hold on to, or encouragement to go back to your faith, or encouragement to do something else. But yes, the first step is you're okay. Yeah. You're okay. and I love you just the way you are.
And you are not alone.
Yeah. And you are not alone. And this is a safe place, creating safe places.
Yep, a confidential place.
I think that's one of the reasons that this has been so, the Girl Talk podcast has been, it started as just something that we wanted to try. We had no idea the kind of relationships we'd have with you and the things you would share with. I mean, I can't even tell you the number of emails that we have gotten that have just absolutely leveled me, brought me to tears, because we've been just open and honest about things. Yeah. That's what we want to create here, is a place for you to do that. But we also want to encourage you to build that in your own community.
Yes.
Because the three of us can't, be everywhere that you are. We wish we could. If they ever come away to do that, Star Trek, beam us up to wherever you are, then we'd love to do that. But we also realize that one of the important things in life that we as women need is community where we live. You need to, have some mamas come around you if you have babies, or if you're single, you need some singles to come on. You even need some married couples to come around you if you're single. I mean, whatever dynamic is where you live, we want you to build those things in your own communities, because that's what it's going to take for the long haul for
other
people.
Godly women to do life with.
Yeah, absolutely.
So important.
Absolutely. Anything else? I could go on, but I'm a little bit afraid.
Well, I think
I'm a little
God
bit afraid of
gives
all
us-
the eye contact going on in here.
Well, I think God gives us what we need, but he gives it to us in different ways.
Right.
Maybe it's a counselor who's going to help you and point you back to what God wants you to know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a song. Maybe it's choosing to worship in the middle of the worst moments. But he does give us what we need. But don't be ashamed to reach out.
I heard Beth Moore, I think it was, say years ago, victory begins with a cry for help.
Yes.
So if you are hurting today, your victory begins when you raise your hand and say, hey, I need help.
Yeah.
I need somebody to talk to. I need, I feel like, especially after the pandemic, we all were forced into roles that we weren't ready to play, like with homeschooling. My daughter always said she wanted to be homeschooled after the pandemic. She's like, man, I'm glad you didn't make that choice.
That's right.
Because you would have been a hard teacher and I would not have liked you. And I was like, well, what's different about that? You're a teenager. But those kinds of roles that we've been forced into, we were all, in the same space for so long, and life was so different. And so I think maybe some of those challenges are still, we're seeing the residual effects of that. So
people are having a hard time re-entering.
Yeah.
And maybe we should talk about some resources.
Okay.
So Focus on the Family obviously has a very good access to different counselors, good resource on their website.
So I don't know if you've ever gone through that process, but what happens is when you call their hotline, they have somebody who will talk to you right then. But they also identify where you're at. So they're really not set up to counsel people over the phone, or they hadn't been until, I'm not sure exactly what they do now, but they will talk you through whatever it is and kind of assess your need. And then they will refer you to people who actually live in your area who can lay eyes on you. And so that's how their program is set up. There are a ton of great Christian counselors in our area. Actually, if you just go on the internet and type in Christian counselors, for your zip code or wherever you are, it'll come up with some resources. But don't be afraid to go get help and talk to somebody, because I think we all, when they call a timeout on the basketball court, they all go over and consult the coach, right? They need somebody to tell them what the game plan is. Same way in life. We need sometimes a timeout to say, I need somebody to look at this unemotionally and to help me figure out what the best course of action is. I think there's great wisdom in asking for help. I really do. I used to think, I have too. I've been in therapy enough for all of us. But I used to think that, only, crazy people went to therapy, and I've been crazy all my life, so I don't know why I didn't do it sooner. But asking for help is one of the wisest things that you can do. Whether it's in your marriage, whether it's in, your single life, whatever it doesn't necessarily mean that your relationship is in trouble or that you are in trouble. It just means that you need some help. So do that. Take advantage of it. I think there are more resources now through companies who are realizing the impact that the pandemic has had on people. So there's more resources now to take care of your mental health than ever before. So reach out and ask for help.
One of the best parts about therapy, because I've got a little bit of a background in it, is that they're going to help you hear what you're saying.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about.
Right.
They're not going to give you ideas. They're going to say, I hear you say that you have no idea what to do next, or that you don't feel supported, or you're not sure if you're loved, or whatever it is, but they're going to help you hear what you're saying. Because we can't always hear what we're saying.
And
or
also,
if we're not saying it, we're not hearing it.
Right. And also get down to the root of, like, the base of what that is.
Yeah.
Like, what you may be saying, it may not be those exact words.
Yes.
But it'll help you get to the roots.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe for you, counseling is too much right now.
Yeah.
Maybe you just need somebody to pray with you.
Yeah.
The Billy Graham Evangelistic Association prayer line, we'll put that in the show notes for you. There's a great phone number you can call somebody there 24 hours a day who can pray with you. Yeah. Great resource.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What about books? Do you guys have any book recommendations?
Ooh, I do. Let's put I can't. The Search for Significance by Robert McGee is a good one. That one was really formative in helping me understand who I was and how that played into. I didn't. I'm drawing a blank right now, but that was a good one for me.
I know this. Get Out of Your Head.
Get Out of Your Head.
Jenny Allen.
Yeah, that's
one of my favorites.
I just started reading that.
Yeah,
So
and then Louis Giglio
just
just wrote that new book. I haven't read it yet, but
don't
let the enemy have a seat at your table.
Yeah, that's a good one. He always has great stuff, and he actually wrote Giants Must Fall. It's about his struggle with depression and anxiety, and that's even a Bible study. We did that a couple years ago here.
Yeah.
So
really good.
It's a really good one. So there are all sorts of resources available. We just don't want you to be afraid. Number one, to talk about it. Get the help that you need. You have our full support, and we will hold your hand through every step of it because we love you so much. And once again, we just want to see you live out the abundant life that God has already paid for you through his son, Jesus. And we love you and appreciate you being a part of this podcast. We want you to get the help that you need. We'll do anything we can to help you get the help you need. And we're going to be here talking about the hard stuff to help you get to the place where you'll ask for help, right?
That's right.
And we love
Absolutely.
you. Love you so much. I want to say thank you to our friends at Fox Toyota of East Tennessee for their sponsorship of Season 5 of the Girl Talk podcast. And we'll see you right back here next time we gather around these microphones for the next Girl Talk podcast.